And we're live. Apologies for such a lapse in making these. We'll get into that in just a minute. Before we get that far, folks, my name is Mick Hayes. That's Mick like Mick Jagger, and Hayes like Isaac Hayes. I am the internet's most invisible guitarist and singer. A man who hesitates to call himself a songwriter, still. And I say that because I've met some songwriters, and what I do is very different. I write songs to get things off my chest. And as I say in showbiz, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Now, why have I not done one of these in a couple of weeks? I apologize. First of all, let me just take you back, like we always do. I actually have an opportunity to record another record, which I'm very excited about in a excited panic kind of way. And I had to cut up 10 demos right away, which took over a week. No, it was a full week. Yeah. So I had to jump into that. After that, I realized I needed to book myself some work. So the next week was me trying to book myself some work. And then I realized basically on Thursday of that week that as I was sending out emails all day long and making phone calls and text messages, that somebody might be crafty and hop on Google and type me in and see who this person is that's researching them. And I realized I don't have a website anymore. So I had to hurry up and jump into making a website, which let me park there for just a second. Now, I had used Bandzoogle almost 20 years ago. I was in the club when they were first coming out on the scene. I had an early website with them when I was living in Atlanta, Georgia. I can't remember why I got away from it. Websites have been just atrocious to me my entire career. That's an episode within itself. Let's avoid that. Just say that I'm back with Bandzoogle. It took me less than a week to build the website. They've listened to musicians for years. They've really built it exactly for what we need. And I can't be any happier than I am. So if you want to visit it, it's mickhayesmusic.com. You're absolutely going to love it. But while I was putting content on there, I realized that it would be fun in a series of these podcasties to outline each of my releases, my independent releases, which there are 10 of them now, working on 11, as I said, and go over some of the songs, maybe some important lyrics, listen to some clips, and introduce those of you who haven't taken any, we'll call it initiative, to do that deep dive on me, and perhaps you just found out about my music from the last album, or maybe you're looking for some of my music and you haven't been able to find it. Well, I'll tell you that there has been a reason why by design. And now through my new website, you can stream everything that I've ever released, just about. I'm still putting stuff up there, and purchase it from me to support me. Now, I know that goes against the business model, and I apologize. Unfortunately, everything I do is usually against the grain anyways, and it never works out. But to hell with it, I'm doing it. The last thing I want is my 0.0003 cents from someone streaming one of my songs. Which leads us to the first CD, which is Segue. Segue wasn't any type of clever title at all. It was actually just me saying, hey, I just left this, kind of top 40s corporate-ish cover band, and I've established Mick Hayes Band, air quotes, which, as I've said before, our first gig was on January 25th in 2003. It was like a 4-hour gig. We only had, I think, maybe 4 or 5 original songs, so we were still a cover band at heart then. But at least the covers supported the originals that we had written. And then that first iteration of the band really didn't work out. It didn't really make it for too long. And then I had to rebuild the band again, which is where we end up with this outfit. So 3 guys, Trey Lander on bass, who actually was just recently nominated for a Grammy this year. Congratulations, Trey. Jonathan Peterson on drums, who was a graduate of Berklee Academy of Music. And then me. Yeah, the guy who used to fix cars. Anyways, the one thing that this band had going for it was, first thing first, is we were all from East Aurora, New York. There was an age gap, Jonathan being the youngest. I was a little bit older than most of them. I think, if memory serves me correctly, They were like in 8th grade when I was a senior. So obviously we didn't hang out, in the neighborhood. But as, adults now in our teens, mid and early teens, we could definitely have a band and have a great sound. And I still to this day think that was a great lineup of the band. Now, another thing we had going for us is we all wanted to be career musicians at that time. We didn't have day jobs. We rehearsed during the day. We hung out by the pool. We'd rehearse again. We'd order a pizza. We'd have people come over. All the things that should happen in a good, musician documentary at that time were happening for us. We were living and breathing what we were playing. We were listening to music all the time. Everything was right. So we decided to write these songs. Well, I wrote the songs. We arranged the songs and go into the studio. At the same time, we also had decided, it was offered to me to join Trey and his family and move to Atlanta, Georgia. So we had to kind of hurry up and record this while we were here. We were leaving, I believe, in October. And this would have been around July when we booked the recording dates. Now, the recording studio was at the Loft in Cheektowaga, New York, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a studio above a garage, a loft studio. Really nice studio. I had recorded there previously with the band that I'd mentioned that did one original CD, and we'll talk some more about that in just a bit too. But it was a great studio. Had everything we were looking for. The strange thing to point out before we really get into the songs here is that studio used what was called Sequoia as a recording platform. So a lot of people are familiar with Pro Tools. A lot of people are familiar with Logic. But nobody really talks about the earlier ones that kind of didn't make it. And I don't even know if Sequoia is around anymore. I don't think I've heard the name mentioned in any of the recording circles in a number of years. So that's the first thing to mention. Also on this recording was a friend of ours, Trevor Bucheri, who sang the backup harmonies on Witch Doctor. Very organically so. He was just hanging out at the studio with us, and I was like, throw a microphone on him. He can sing it. And in addition, the only other musician on this record who wasn't in the band, I say record, forgive me, was Will Champlin, a friend of ours as well, who is the son of Bill Champlin from Chicago and the son of Tamara Champlin of background singing and songwriting fame. So we're really happy to have him. Let me just add to that while I'm going down kind of the list of things that was important. My girlfriend at the time of the release was a girl named Leslie Elliott, and she did all the album artwork and design. That'd be some words. It's just like I remember iteration and I couldn't remember design. Go figure. But let's just jump right in with the first story, which was About Forever. Now, About Forever is kind of a breakup song. A lot of my songs are. It seems to be when I'm the most inspired at that period of my life. And we were in Memphis, Tennessee, competing for the International Blues Challenge, the IBCs, representing Western New York. That week or whatever it was, weekend, that is 3 episodes of drama. I won't even get into that, but I will tell you this much. I received, we competed the first night, we competed the second night, and we got called out at that point. We weren't going to go on any further. No, I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to go into it. I have to stop myself. We went out that night, and you have to remember, again, this is like 2000 and I'm going to say 2004. No cell phones. I might have had a green screen like a Nokia. I doubt it. I really doubt it. So I remember having to go back to the hotel room to check in. And at that time, there was a message for me at the hotel room letting me know that my girlfriend back home at the time was over at my house because she knew where the spare key was with another man. Right. Right. That's where the story starts. So the song starts 1,000 miles from home. That's where the story starts, in a Memphis hotel room, and my world back home, my world just falls apart. That's it. So let's give it a little quick listen here.
miles from home. That's where the story starts. This Memphis hotel room. Back home, my love just falls apart. How long have we been putting this off, baby? Girl, I think we need to talk. It's just one of those things where neither one of us is happy. But who's gonna be the first to walk? I must have been a fool. Think we'd be together. Have been a fool. Think we'd go on forever. And now that I'm down here on my own, somehow I'll make it all alone. But I will miss your kiss, your eyes, how long goodbyes. But I guess we won't talk about forever anymore. Maybe once I get home, virtues that I've been searching for, never found on my own.
And again, still so proud of that. There's a lot of things to kind of unpack with this song one by one. First of all, there's a weird chord that I use in that song that I've showed to a number of guitar players, and they just sit there with this like mystery look on their face. It's actually the first chord in the pre-chorus. And I remember showing it to one of the guitar teachers at one of the stores I was working at years ago, and he knew way more music theory than I did. And he goes, I don't know, call it a Lydian cluster. I'm like, yeah, okay. And this is a C Lydian cluster, please. Thank you. If you could change that on the piano, that'd be great. Yeah. Anyways, there is a lot to unpack on the song. It's something, like I said, I'm still very proud of. And the hook, overall, the guitar hook, was actually sampled for a hip hop song by the guy's last name was Armstrong. I can't remember. He had a microphone pen name. And I have it somewhere. And again, some of these things are just in boxes still. Even though we look like we're unpacked, there's a whole storage unit full of stuff that I still got to figure out where I'm going to keep and if I'm going to keep it. But yeah, so that's about Forever. Most important lyric in that would probably be just that opening phrase. 1,000 miles from home, and that's where the story starts. In a Memphis hotel room, and back home my love falls apart. Let's go into Morning's Memory Reflection. Now, this is actually my favorite song on the whole CD. I love the song so much, and the chord structure, everything. I got a book. It was like jazz voicings for guitar or something. Again, I know that's in the storage unit, and I probably should have grabbed all this stuff before doing this, but if you really want to know, I'll go look it up. But I got this book, and I remember like having these late night, just like, living alone, and I have this guitar on my lap, and I would just kind of go over chords from this book and pick out ones that I like, and then I would write them over on like, a chord neck book. It's just like scrap paper that had little chord necks in it. You see them at guitar stores still, I'm sure of it. And I would kind of just highlight ones that I really liked and extract them. And then later on, I kind of put a bunch of them together. And that's where I came up with Morning's Memory Reflection. Today, after saying Morning's Memory Reflection for 20 years on stage, I would never write or never title a song that. But you learn things along the way. And that's one. Wonderful story, though, if I must be honest. Again, another one of heartbreak, because there was a girl specifically that I would just see all the time. I would just ogle her from across the bar, and it just dawned on me one night in one of my Jack Daniel's stupors. I'm like, what if tonight was the night? What if the moon hits her right, or I'm wearing the right outfit, or whatever it is, but she decides that she wants to, we'll call it surrender to me. She decides she wants to surrender to me. And that's where Morning's Memory Reflection starts. And the lyric grab, if I can be so bold, is, as you lie sleeping, I'm afraid to wake you because I'm sure that you're going to leave. And if you arise, I will close my eyes and pretend to be sound asleep. Yeah, nothing more sincere than saying, I don't want to watch you walk away. If I've just had the night of my life, please don't let me watch you walk away. Let's give it a listen.
Morning's memory reflection of a night I kissed you 1,000 times, and in the darkness with the lights out, just guided by your heart that shines. As you lie sleeping, I'm afraid to wake you, 'cause I'm sure you're gonna leave. If you arise, I will close my eyes and pretend to be sound asleep. I don't know why you're here with me. Want to keep you selfishly. I want you to know that's not everything I need. I forever wish to wake up to your eyes.
Yeah. It still hits me, man. I remember rehearsing that song. I have the rehearsals of that somewhere. If anybody really wanted to get nerdy on this, we could do a revisited on this whole episode. But I have the rehearsals of that. It always had, we were going for this like kind of police/sting thing, which is why the drums are played the way they are. Jonathan did a wonderful job of that. And another period of my life where I learned not to write anything with a falsetto, because when I do that little falsetto part at the end of each chorus, I found that, again, on my 5th night of singing for the week, that's not there. As a matter of fact, I tell people all the time, I'm like, my voice is the most inconsistent thing I own. It's really sad because, you think, I've been through speech therapy and all kinds of things, and I do everything to try to take care of it. But sometimes it's got a mind of its own, and that's the case. But let's jump into Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor was the fan favorite, the crowd favorite. Anytime we played it, it was an instant, people were going to be out on the dance floor. We played it for years and years and years. Where the story starts, though, with Witch Doctor, it's really ironic. Again, a young early 20s boy, we'll say, dating an older woman. She was recently divorced. Her and her girlfriend both left their husbands at the same time. Man, it was drama after drama. It's the first time I ever dated a girl that was, again, over the age of 30 and a girl with kids. And perfectly inspired a song called Witch Doctor. Now, mind you, before we give it a listen, this was another learning experience where I never wrote a song that was this wordy and, rhymey again. There were nights specifically, again, when the energy would hit us right and the crowd was giving us everything we needed. This song has the potential of being a runaway Eminem rap. It's insane. I learned early on that I'm like, I'll never write another song like this, and I never have. But people have loved it for years, and I'm still very proud of it. Now, let's go for the lyric grab before we give it a listen, and let me tell you another story that goes along with it. The lyric grab on that one is the last verse. I hope that one day when you turn on your radio, you hear my sad heart crying through your stereo. You'll look at your next victim and have some mercy on him, because he don't know about your magic and your lies and your sins. Set that man free and let him love again. Boy, was that pointed. And the fun part is so remember I told you I did this CD with this band, long before I made any of my own music. And Witch Doctor was wrote at that time, and I brought it to the table as a potential song to record on that. And the owner of the band, the lead singer of the band, flat out told us all when we were together, as I was kind of demoing the song for everybody in the control room, which is hard to even call it a control room based on what I've seen nowadays, but he said, "What is this?" And the girl's name was Jennifer. Okay. And he goes, what's the name of this one? Jennifer, Jennifer Ruined My Life or something. And he thought he was being funny. And I was like, And the song was it was declined by, I think, just about everybody in the band. I had other stuff, I get it, to fit better on the, but this song was great for the dance floor. And if we're going to be playing, on volume 10 on Friday night, at the 10 o'clock hour, this one's going to be the one that's going to get them on the dance floor, but it was shot down. So I kept it for myself. Now, the ironic part is after everybody picked apart my song in the control room that day, the owner of the band came forward with this song that he had. And there was a lyric in his song where he said, he was, kind of, let me get you set up here, so there's a cobblestone road and it's like a cafe, and he runs into this girl, she's got like a beret on, and you're trying to get this imagery, and, maybe she's got a cigarette on one of those long cigarette holder things. And then his lyric was, "And she drove a Duesenberg. I haven't seen one of those in years." And I looked at the keyboard player and bust out laughing. And I was like, see, this is my problem with people who write songs for craft, Now, granted, there are people that can do it and it'll literally make you cry, and I've encountered some of them. Like I said, when I make this spiel in the beginning of all these about meeting songwriters and what I do is very different. I've met songwriters. It was literally like, oh man, God, what a great story. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, so who was she or who was he? And they're like, no, it's just a story, man. It's just songwriting. I'm like, oh yeah, no, my songs are about me getting my heart ripped out of my chest and thrown onto the back of a Buick and backed over. Sorry, man, I don't really write if it doesn't at least have a place of personal experience. But she drove a Duesenberg. I was like, dude, you know what a Duesenberg is? It's like the car that they drove, in Indiana Jones movies. It's like this girl's, if she's sitting in a sidewalk cafe, she's got a Carmen Ghia, or she's got a Beetle. She don't drive a Duesenberg. Duesenbergs have like big Continental spares on the side and fenders that you stand on. Like, give me a break. And we recorded it. He was like, no, it's staying. I'm like, all right. And I played on it. She drove a Duesenberg. I haven't seen one of those in years. Anyways, let's listen to Witch Doctor. still love it. I do. I'm proud of it, man. That song still holds. You know, it's like it didn't get old. It's still got its influences. It's funny that I tried, you know, like country picking the guitar solo and everything. And yeah, you can listen to all that stuff. Like I said, all this stuff is now available on mickhaysmusic.com for a $9.99 download. Own My Music, something that, like I said, you know, took me forever to write and record, and the courage and all that other stuff. I'd appreciate it if you would. Let's move on to the next track, which is Woman of a Wounded Man. Yeah, and again, so here's what I'll say. Woman of a Wounded Man was a girl that was not as significant as About Forever or Morning's Memory and Reflection or Witch Doctor for that matter. Kind of an insignificant person, but the perfect opportunity to bring to light a couple of things. Now, let's talk about, first of all, the lyric grab is, well, no, hang on. No. Hang on. Let me back this up. I should practice these things before I hit record, but why not just do it the right way? There is an old Japanese love poem. I'm serious. I know you think I'm kidding. There's an old Japanese love poem that I've remembered for years. It was in this world, love has no color, yet how deeply my body is stained with yours. Now, personally, I think it sounds better with yet how deeply my soul is stained with yours. And because that affected me so much when I read that for the first time, and like I said, it stayed with me, 20 plus years already, I decided to kind of let it influence me. So the opening line of Woman a Wounded Man is, I made a decision over candlelight to give myself to you. Yes, ladies, sometimes men make that decision. As I said, I wasn't really, I wasn't feeling this girl entirely, but yet I kind of felt like, I feel like this is what she wants, might as well, right? And then the lyric goes, this drowning that I need so much has left me with a curse on my heart that's stained with your warm color of love, darkening my deepest mood. And that's where that influence comes from. Yeah, so Japanese love poetry is not something I, throw on my my reading glasses or my cheaters and read before bed too much anymore. There was a time, but it's funny, Peter Gabriel will say that that Mercy Street is influenced by Anne Sexton poetry. And then I'm telling you that, and people are like, he's so deep. And then I'm over here telling you, and they're like, yeah, play Freebird. Yeah, sure. Here's your Freebird as you give the guy in the back of the room the middle finger. Anyway, yes, let's listen to Woman of a Wounded Man.
Made a decision over candlelight to give myself to you. Ever since I met you, it felt so right. Somehow my body just knew when I first met your touch. I felt a velvet rush. I can't explain this drowning that I need so much has left me with a curse on my heart that's stained with your warm color of love, just darkening my deepest mood. I've never seen a violin until the stranger walked in my room. What do I say? Oh, to make you stay. I can tell you about the women that misuse my heart. What do I say? Just to make you understand.
right. Yeah. So let's kind of just go over this quickly here. About Forever, I'm going to say that About Forever is more or less like a Robin Trower influenced kind of a psychedelic blues song. Morning's Memory Reflection, like I said, had like Police and Sting influence in its veins. Witch Doctor's got its New Orleans thing, and then Woman of a Wounded Man, you know, it sounds like, I mean, it could have been a Santana song or even a Malo song. You know, it had that Latin flair. But again, we had so many influences, and we weren't trying to specifically be one thing. And the same came out with my songwriting. That's unfortunately changed, but that's changed for my listening too. I prefer albums that all sound kind of the same, especially if I'm going through my record collection. And there's one recently that I've brought up in a couple of conversations where it's just such a sweet and amazing songwriting album. And then there's this one song that sticks up like a wild hair. And it's like a scene I just threw off my whole vibe for that album. And so I'm a little sensitive to that now. And I would be equally as sensitive listening to this. If I settled into About Forever, I'd be like, well, there's not another song like this on the whole CD. And you're right. And the same goes for Morning Memory Reflection and Witch Doctor and Woman of a Wounded Man, as I said. But let's kind of segue. Freaking comedian. Let's segue into South of the Sun. South of the Sun is probably, in my personal opinion, the saddest of all the stories on this CD. Why? Well, I did something you're not supposed to do. I've done a lot of things you're not supposed to do. But after spending, and here's what I'll say. If you spend enough time with anybody, they grow on you. Don't you agree? That's how like affairs start at work and things like that. And it's something I've always been very cautious of. It's like if you spend 8 hours a day with somebody and then spend 2 hours a night after dinner with your significant other, that's pretty damn dangerous. If you're spending 8 hours with your coworker who's, you know, in your attraction level, we'll say, and then you go home, you have dinner, you spend 2 hours with your significant other, and then they conk out, you know, watching, you know, reruns of, you know, Practical Jokers, then, you know, you literally spent more time with somebody else than you did your significant other, and it's dangerous. Let me get off my soapbox now and tell you about how I spent too much time with someone in the band's sister. That's all I'll say. And worse yet, there was kind of, we'll call it meddling going on there, and someone had told me that this person had a crush on me. And that's what led to Morning's Memory Reflection. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I see this girl all the time. Like, what if she does? So I wrote Morning's Memory Reflection. And then when I was finally brave enough, when they literally told me that she's upstairs, she's sick, she doesn't feel well today, and she thinks about you and blah, 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 blah. Go upstairs and talk to her. So I did. I went upstairs, knocked on the door. She invited me in, and her whole room was dark. It was only lit by the television that she was watching. And, you know, of course I consoled her for not feeling well. And I don't know, when the moment was right, and it seemed like the timing was right, I confessed my feelings for her and told her, I said, kind of everybody thinks it's a good idea. And I've been told that you're interested too. And that's when she looked me in the eye and said, I have no idea what you're talking about. Ew, you're like my brother's friend. Dude, listen. I handle rejection the same way everybody else does. But in the music industry, you get told no quite a bit. Okay? So I'm a little more, I've got more practice there. But this one hit me over the head hard. I'm like, what? Listen to me. No. People have told me in your family. I've seen the way you look at me at shows. You sit in the front row and just stare at me. Like, no, I'm sorry. I don't know where this is coming from at all. Just absolute torture for the rest of my time in that situation. Literally. And it went on for months, and it went on for over a year. Oh, it was so bad. And I felt, you feel like a loser. Like, what? I just professed my feelings for you and found out, because I was completely wrong, that there was no reciprocation at all. That's south of the sun. And the irony in one of the lyrics for the lyric grab is, it's too ironic naming virtues, and forgive me for wanting to be a part of you. Her name, her given name, is a virtue. And that's all I'll say. Let's listen to it.
I've been empty like this for far too many days. This is the first time I talk about it. Hope I'll understand it after the day. Simply put, I'm ready for a free fall. And it's karma, baby. It's found me in the wake of it all. I don't know if I was the singing, mixed up signals that I had received. It's too ironic naming virtues. Forgive me for trying to be a part of you till you find your way. Found I'm the one. I just have to wait. South of the sun.
Again, first of all, that was recorded live at the Lafayette Tap Room. If you also look on the same page on my website under store, you can hear that full concert, start to finish with no breaks. That's live at the Tap Room in 2005. And we were having good fun. You can hear me laughing in sections of it. I mean, we were really enjoying the night. It was packed. I mean, there's probably over 500 people in the audience that night. And I think some of that comes through on the recording, but that's south of the sun. It is a sad story. And here's what I'll say. That particular moment ended up being 3 songs in my catalog. Like I said earlier, Morning's Memory Reflection, South of the Sun, and the next one is Hope in My Dreams, which kind of gives away the virtue in the name. I digress. And that brings us to those 3 words, which is also live. It's just a blues song. And I don't say that like, it's just a blues song. I mean, it's a blues song. The intention of that was to capture it live with the audience, with people screaming and yelling and having a good time. And that's what we wanted. We wanted the industry, as we were approaching it at that time, to hear that we were also good in the studio and great live, and that people enjoyed what we were doing. And after we finished that CD and released it, and we sent it out to everybody, and everybody said the same thing. Like, this is like, it's like 3 45s, it's like, there's no 2 songs there's 2 songs that are similar to each other, but there's no constant theme. And I knew at that point that was kind of my first learning experience. It was like, okay, so I recorded it. Everyone says, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Guess what, dude? I've done what I love 10 times and it never worked. A day in my life. All right, I'm just being mean to me at the moment. I'm having fun too. I'm entirely proud of everything that I've done. But this was a big learning experience. Like I said, we got a psychedelic song like About Forever that's kind of Trower-esque. Morning's Memory Reflection has like this Sting kind of police thing, witch doctors, got a New Orleans vibe with some chicken picking guitar solo. You've got Woman of a Wounded Man, that is, that's, like I said, it could be a Santana song, which, can I just brag for a minute there? The guitar solo on Woman of a Wounded Man is first take. I remember that specifically because I took the solo and we were just trying to get tones and moving microphones and stuff. And I was like, oh man, I wish you got that one. And they yelled and stood up in the control room that we got that one. I'm like, oh yeah, oh my God, leave it. Now I'm a little fussier. Now I'm like, let me sleep with it for a couple of days and we'll come back to it. And things are a little more permanent now in my life. When back then I was just like, let's just do it. Hit record. Woman of a Wounded Man, like I said, it's more of a Santana or kind of a Malo thing. South of the Sun, if I were to just finger that one for a second, that's me trying to be Chris Cornell, which was something I learned very early on. That's a bad idea. Only Chris Cornell can sound like Chris Cornell. I'm obviously influenced by Seattle rock because I grew up through it. Chris is one of my favorite singers, although again, delivery is not always the easiest thing to do on night number 5. I have it in my trick bag. I treat it like a guitar pedal. It's like a stomp box. Every once in a while, I'll just step on the Chris Cornell stomp box and let you know that I've studied enough of it to deeply appreciate it, but it's not my go-to anymore. And then those 3 words, it's a blues tune. It's a good blues tune. It's a great blues tune. And if I can reveal the secret again, About Forever and those 3 words are about the same girl under the same situation. As a matter of fact, my favorite lyric in those 3 words are, you always tell me to stop crying and suck it up like a man. But how will these tears ever stop falling when you run to him every single chance you can? Dude, the things I went through for songwriting. Bananas. Absolutely crazy.
Why do I deserve this, babe? What makes you think that this is love? Why do I deserve this, babe? What makes you think that this is love. So three words you've been saying, baby, I don't think you know the meaning of.
That brings us to the takeaway. The takeaway is this. Hey, I've written 10 songs for my next record, which are definitely the most pointed, most personal, most revealing, most sincere ever. And I review them every day. Since putting the demos in place, I listen to all 10 demos every day. I continue to edit them. I go over the lyrics every day, all 10 songs, and continue to edit them. That's my dedication to what I do. And this next record is just going to be, at some point you have to say something. It's got to be power of the numbers. It's got to be power of belief. This is my 11th record. Everybody knows 11 is my number. It's got to mean something. I'm not going to put that level of pressure on me, but I'm also not going to be like, just throw a record and I hope we get it, the way I mentioned about Woman of a Wounded Man. I'm doing all my pre-production work. I'm doing all of my homework now and making sure that it's going to be the best thing I've ever put out. Each time I put out a record, I want it to be better. This one goes all the way back to 2005. Thank you for listening to the clips with me today. If you've made it to the end here, we're coming up over 40 minutes. My God, thank you so much for being with me. If you enjoy it, head over to mickhaysmusic.com, download it. It's not in print anymore. Nobody's doing CDs. I think the last copy came up. I saw a copy come up on eBay and it sold for like $30. I'm proud of that too. Kind of a weird thing to say, but don't take it the wrong way. It's nice to know that your music still holds value. It's nice to know that I go into music stores all the time and I've never seen any of my records for sale in the used market. I'm proud of that. That's a weird thing to say and have somebody say, "Oh, it's such an ego." No, I'm proud, dude. People kept my music. Thank you, Lord, and thank you to my listeners. So that's it. I hope that this helps. I hope that inspires you. I hope it inspires you to take the next step and listen to my music. I still say all the time, I listen to music like I digest it. For me, it's like watching a movie. It's like going into the movie theater and they dim the lights and I have my popcorn. I turn off and I silence my cell phone. In most cases, I try to put it in a whole nother part of the house. And I take it in until it's over. It's built that way. And I hope that you'll take a listen to some of my music that same way. We're going to pick this up. Again, like I said, we've got album after album to do now. So I hope that this helps. I hope it inspires you. And I hope that it brings us closer together.